Hello, and welcome back to 922. I want to give a quick content warning before we get started here. Towards the end of this update, to be as vague as possible about events without spoiling them, there's going to be a section where Spencer enters his mind palace. And during that section, there's going to be frequent, brief, full-screen white flashes. I don't know if that's gonna show up on the recording, but it might. And I just wanted to be sure and give that warning for any photosensitive folks who might be watching. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. After adjusting myself in my seat ever so slightly. There's a Dairy Queen on the corner of Pine and Linden, and behind that there's a parking lot. This parking lot is special. It's on a hill, and it just so happens that if you squint, you're just barely able to make out the entrance to the bomb shelter. It's a shame I never learned from my mistakes, arriving early once again. Without any benches, or anything really, I'm forced to come up with a story. My car broke down and I'm waiting for the tow truck. That's what I'll tell them. The hypothetical person who will confront me about pacing around the parking lot for half an hour. God, this fucking headache. I dare to sneak the 102nd peak towards the north. As expected, the bomb shelter didn't disappear between now and the 101st. It's still a bland concrete cube jutting out from behind some trees. One blurry guard is on his phone, while the other, if I had to guess, has his earphones in. An odd sense of nostalgia pervades the back of my mind. The shelter seemed so innocuous back when I met Kurt. All I wanted was to sneak into school, as a good student does. Back then, the stakes were merely the $20 I have in my wallet, and, had I been lucky, my ass. It is 8:46. Hey, you're late. Neither of us offer any pleasantries. Last time he messaged me was 5 a.m. I did not sleep a minute tonight. I don't think he did either. Kurt's plan is absolutely bonkers, but I can't afford to question anything any longer. It's nothing complicated, I tell him. He insists to go over it one last time. On my signal, we sprint to the shelter. The guards will already have been dealt with once we're there. The door has a padlock on it and an aftermarket keypad. You yell if some bullshit comes up. Once I'm done fucking with the door and it's open, we wait for another signal. Whatever that may be. And then we go in. We get no second chances. If you go off to do some of your own shit, we die. You die. For real. Whatever, Mom. How's your nausea doing? Ate anything? Nah. Man, no way. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to keep it down. Well, do your best. Things are about to get real fucky. My stomach cramps in anticipation. How fucky? Unbelievably fucky. The fuckiest. You're going to hate it so much. Hey, by the way. Kurt cranes his neck to look past the cars. Can you tell what's going on with the shelter right now? Huh? Describe it to me. Just do it. I squint towards the shelter. Oh, fuck. My neck feels like it's in a vice. You seeing this? 'Cause I sure don't. Yeah? Kurt? Who was I speaking to? Right, that's our cue. Run. He fucking books it. Shit. Wait! My calf sees up as he sprints out of the parking lot. Son of a bitch! That was his signal? When did he decide he's capable of moving so fast? Move! I stumble, twist, and smack my knuckles against a car. A shockwave of pain radiates through my nervous system. Suddenly, I'm moving. The keyboardist in the background is going absolutely ham on the organ. The silhouettes of parked cars move by one, past my line of sight. Then a fence, and then the Dairy Queen sign. I'm on the street. The route. What was the route? I came here a whole ass hour early just to memorize where the fuck I should go. Someone turns a corner somewhere in the distance. I start towards wherever that is. Pray to God that was Kurt. I sprint for what feels like hours past the school's fence. My lungs are burning and it feels like I burned another hole through my throat. The buildings. I was supposed to be on the other side here. I jump into the road. Some fucker honks at me once my feet hit sidewalk again. There's a playground. It smells like piss. What a callback. I made it. I'm... The kind of clearance you got there, mister, is not any of my business. If you ain't on the list, you ain't going in. Brilliant way to start the day. Show up to half the damn facility out on the front lawn and I'm being held out by a goddamn child. My boss is the fella right there. You see him? His name is Roger Gill. I gesture past him into the crowd. Roger is yapping along at Danny and Paul in some suit I don't recognize. He's a first lieutenant. That good enough for you? He follows my finger, as a good boy should. Mr. Gill, sir, hey! What's going on? Mind lending me a hand? Sir! Morning, John. Security giving you trouble, eh? You pour yourself a mug and head on over to Auditorium B. We had a minor incident overnight. Once Leslie shows up, I'll debrief everyone in. The private squints at the clipboard where Roger is pointing his pencil to. John Swain. Spencer! Fucking answer me! Oh god. Holy shit, you really are impossible to get through. My consciousness returns just in time to feel that my legs had turned to jelly. I fall to my knees. What the fuck was that? Don't tell me you're losing it already. I'm getting started on the door. Make sure these morons don't wake up. What? What the fuck was that? Ignore it. Ignore it? Oh god. Oh fuck. There's a pair of legs sticking out of the bush. It's the guard that was on his phone. The other one is slumped against a tree. His eyes are open. Is he crying? I push my tongue hard against the roof of my mouth and aim my snout fully up just to keep the world from spinning. What the fuck did you do? Payback. You know what? Why don't you ask me again in a couple minutes? What? This doesn't fucking work. What doesn't? The keypad. I can't get it open. It's fucking... It's... I squeeze my eyes shut. 5992. Really would have liked to know that before we got here. Whatever. Remember, I go in, you stay here. Right. He disappears down the shelter stairs. How'd you know? Huh? Who? Kurt's looking down at me like I'm a child who scraped his elbow. What? The code to the door. How'd you know it? Oh. I saw it in a dream. Okay, cool, you're still an asshole. Got me worried for a moment there. I blink a couple of times, trying to get my eyes to focus. What were you gonna do if I didn't know it? Magnet. Remember that Todd kid from the bowling alley? He taught me a couple of things. Turns out these keypads are mostly for show. So you can definitely see me, right? I guess? Good. Let's go. Delta 6. Copy. Proceed to Delta 7. Looking terrific today, John. Ah, save it. Roger's trying to wring me out. 10 hours in a civilian craft, again. He's gotta. How long will you be gone for? A couple of weeks with the missus, and after that another week back home. Had to beg him for permission to fly me. Man's acting like I won't return. Well. What, you know something? Delta 7. Copy. Proceed to Delta 8. Just the November incident again. They got a committee going for it. You hear about that? Established last week. I heard. Paul's been brought in for questioning. He tells me they fancy that things are more serious than what the initial report made it out to be. How serious? Shutting down the project serious. Bah. You don't think they will? Rather they don't, Tone. I like this job. Well, whatever happens, it's been a pleasure to work with you too. Delta 8. Copy. Proceed to Delta 9. Good luck. Out. Keep it together, man. We're almost there. You still with me? Keep it together. We're almost there. Keep it together? Keep it together? It's every day now, John. Every day, something new doesn't add up. Every day, they have me drive to Oakfield so that I could compare records with something they dug up in Kazakhstan. And it's always insane. This is beyond counterintelligence. No, this has to be the real deal. We screwed up, bad. He goes mute and stares down at his shoes, pretending to think. Never seen Cliff this agitated. Morale's gone to shit while I was gone, understandably, but Cliff is on a whole new level. Are we still on about the eastern buildings? Even under a doomsday scenario, how bad could it have possibly been? He frowns at his feet. Sad as it might be, it's only a handful of contractors and a bunch of concrete. We should stop there. Did it not? It's classified. He isn't allowed to tell me. That said, if I stay still for a couple moments, he might. There's a section on Weston Avenue down in the city. You ever go there? Doesn't ring a bell. Do you remember True Mountain Diner? We celebrated Sherry Green's birthday over there last year. Got it. The swamp. That's right. The swamp. You want to hear something about that swamp? The county had a drain 25 years ago. The city plan doesn't make a lick of sense had they not. Don't you think it's funny how there's a chunk of town that had never been zoned? Can't say I ever gave it any thought. It isn't only us who's missing people, or some construction crew. People used to live there, John. Spare me. What's the damage? Hundreds. Of people? Of households, going by what we assume would have been built had it been built in the past couple of decades. Are you sure about this? You're hilarious, John. Am I sure about something that for all intents and purposes has never existed? Of course I'm sure. What the devil are you wearing? I'm wet. There's no square inch of my clothes that isn't drenched in sweat. The sting of acid persists no matter how much I spit, or in which way I contort my tongue. Vomit's fucking everywhere. On my hands, on the toilet seat, on the walls and floors of the bathroom. My stomach lurches, but nothing comes out. There's nothing left. That was new. I flinch. Fuck, some of it got in my nose. Kurt's still standing where I left him, motionless in front of the shitty boys' room mirror, hands limp on the sink. We really went for a ride there, huh? You alright? What time is it? Fishing the phone out of my jeans pocket is like reaching down into a sewage drain. 9:44. We're safe. Kurt's face twists into a crooked smile. What do you think? Pretty cool, yeah? I guess it was alright. He attempts a high-pitched wheeze of a cackle. Welcome back to the land of the living, dumbass. You're welcome. Police show up, and then paramedics. We watch from the classroom Andrew hastily prepared for us on the Jefferson Building's top floor. We watch them load up the guards Kurt fucked up on this side of the basement into an ambulance. The ambulance crew is not in any hurry. At least physically, the two are fine. Students and staff leave en masse just as a troop wearing all black arrives. Caps, sunglasses, rifles. We silently listen to them stomp around and shout at one another on the lower floors. When the commotion finally dies down, it remains quiet for hours. Then, at 10:29 at night, the engines on their jeeps ignite one after the other, and they gently roar away. I sleep like a mop, whatever that means. One moment I'm watching Kurt's fingers drumming away on his knee, and the next moment I'm on the floor, in the corner. It's daylight now. 7:35 a.m. Early students are chatting away down on the plaza. I tiptoe towards the window to look at them, as to not wake Kurt up. There's been a break-in yesterday, one of them tells another. The other one responds, he heard that someone tried to steal shit from the basement. The basement? The first one asks. Yeah, says the second. Don't you know the tale? Come 10:01, the lock to the classroom clanks open. A bleary-eyed Andrew escorts us silently to one of the campus's exit-only gates. The hot water in Kurt's apartment never runs out, so I stand in the shower looking at water droplets slide down the tile. Thoughts lazily drift into consciousness for me to consider before dissipating away into the back of my mind. My calves groan in pain. My knees won't stop shaking. My arms are wrapped around me because no matter how warm the water is, my fur won't stop standing on end. Hours go by. Good thing they don't have to worry about a water bill, I guess. My throat hurts from rinsing my mouth when Kurt finally decides to knock. He yells at me, "You got a message." I step out with a towel around my waist. We check my phone. It's Fisher. He wants to meet up. Can I be honest with you boys? You two are really starting to piss me off. That stunt you pulled, you can't even begin to imagine the amount of risk you put us all into. Very clever, otherwise. There had been attempts to establish communication between folks and their mirrors, you know. Always in a lab setting, of course, and never successfully enough. I believe the term they used at the time was suicidal. He laughs and tosses a french fry into his mouth. What did I tell you, Spencer? Is this guy resourceful or what? You fellas not hungry? It'll get cold if you stare at it for too long. You... Go on, we're all friends here. You backed us into a corner. What do you think we were going to do? Kurt's words come out in monotone, just barely above a whisper. Like someone turned the volume on him all the way down. Nothing is spectacular, that's for sure. I knew that you were going to pull something eventually, but I'm no fortune teller. You ain't as predictable as Spencer here. Joke's on me. Don't take it the wrong way, but in the back of my mind, I kind of assumed you'd fail no matter what you two would have done. Case in point... He puts his burger down so he could dig around in his coat. Here. He slides a phone in between our trays. A phone? This lobotomy patient's phone. No one ever tell you not to use your birthday as a password? Kurt moves his hand towards it. Fisher makes no signs of stopping him. Gotta hand it to you. What you got on there is some serious good work. Learned a couple of things I didn't know, and I'd been there myself, in the flesh. When an archaeologist finds all this out in 1,000 years, they'd be beyond themselves to read such a complete story. Kurt drags the phone down into his knees. Shit. Hope you liked what you saw. Fisher bursts out laughing. You bet I did. Is that what you're worried about? Did I think less of you because of your work relationship with Andrew Park? Young man, someone like me is the last person to get judgmental over how you accomplish your goals. You knew about these two, Spencer? I'm not surprised. It's none of my business. Attaboy. So is that what this is? What do you think this is? You're gloating. You bring me out here so you could look me in the eye and say nothing I do matters. Is that really what it is? Just kill me now if you really don't care. Don't be an idiot. He clears his throat. There's a reason why our little meeting's in a food court as opposed to some empty lot. I'm not here to kill you. You know I won't. You would not have come here if you thought any other way. Though, let me tell you, if you start getting any bright ideas... He presses on the side of his coat meaningfully. It's the outline of a gun. You can't imagine how hard it is to choke someone to death. As you demonstrated, I'm no longer in a position where I can take chances with you kids. If I wanted either of you dead, you would have been dead. Got it? You would have been so dead. So long ago. He picks up a fry, swirls it around in ketchup, and waves it at Kurt. I don't know why I pronounced ketchup like that. You know why, don't you? Not really. Bah! Don't give me that. Do you want to make any guesses, Spencer? He's looking at me. He wants me to talk. My jaw aches from staying clenched for so long. You won't risk it, won't you? That's what it is, isn't it? You'll die, somehow, and you don't want to die. Is that not what you said? Nice to see your ears aren't just for show after all. He shoves the fry in his mouth. Why'd I call you here? That's the reason. You and I, the three of us, we're in a bind. I can't get rid of you. And let me tell you a secret. You can't get rid of me either. So I'm sitting in my car last night. Just finished up doing damage control over the mess you made. And I'm thinking to myself, old man, why are you still playing this game? You could tell, couldn't you? I stopped sabotaging you fellas a while ago. I didn't get lazy, if that's what you thought. Figured that if I let you do your thing, you'd eventually unearth enough material to deter you from messing with the gate. Know what? Now that I think about it, that must be a mistake I made. It's likely no coincidence that you weren't able to. What are you on about? Fisher takes a sip of Pepsi. You don't happen to believe in fate, do you? Think about it. Had you found out about it, Andrew Park would have found out about it as well. That guy, he's not like us. He doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut. He would have relayed the information to someone else, and someone else would have relayed it to the world, and then the entire town goes kaput. What? Don't suppose folks your age still listen to the radio. 5 car crashes since yesterday. The talk radio hosts are barely able to string a sentence together. Hell, look around you. He waves his burger towards the few people in the court. Did you not take notice? It took 10 minutes to get my damn order in. It's not only you two and the cashier that have mush for brains today. The security personnel I posted that you had disposed of. What you'd done to them is happening, to a lesser extent, to everyone. People in a 20-mile radius are walking around feeling like they forgot what they were doing 5 minutes ago. How about that? That's on you fellas. Your little stunt did that, and it would be a happy miracle if that much is the only thing that it caused. Alright, I hear you. I'm putting the cart before the horses making all these accusations. You want to know what's going on, don't you? One of the fries seems to catch his attention. He pushes it aside, dusts off his hands, and tears open a new ketchup packet. Pay attention. The RLG, Rockland Looking Glass in official documentation, is a natural phenomenon we dug up in the 60s. Total accident as far as I know. It's a gate, as in a passage between 2 places. What are these places? He pauses to push aside his hill of ketchup packets to reveal a mayo one. Having squeezed all the ketchup from the last packet onto his tray, he tears into it as well. RLG primary and RLG secondary. That's what the gate connects. A bit of a mouthful, that, so we always called them World A and World B. Get used to the terms. When someone from World A goes through the gate, he ends up on World B, and vice versa. And the thing about them is that they're identical. Everything in each world's history, up until today, is exactly the same. You with me? Kurt's been chewing on the same bite for 5 minutes. He swallows and nods. And you? Go on. Swell. There's a problem with what I said. How do we know that there's a gate between 2 worlds if they're completely identical in every way? That's the main history lesson. The crew who dug out the tunnel in the first place lost their minds. What was later discovered is that since both worlds are identical, the same person would be crossing from A to B and from B to A at the same time. But, for whatever reason, one of these 2 identical people would be lost, and the remaining person would come out on either A or B. Those poor, ignorant men were going in and out of the RLG site multiple times a day. And I'm sure you saw what happens when you mess around with it. Symptoms not unlike my security crews yesterday. The last of them, I heard, passed away in 1991. Not to pour salt on your wounds, but rest assured he had not led a happy life. Got any questions so far? Why are you telling us this? That's cold, Spencer. I just told you you'd given permanent brain damage to 4 people and you won't even act shocked? He squeezes the mayo out right onto the ketchup and starts mixing the concoction around with the end of a fry. My gamble is that you'll leave the gate alone once you get it in your head just how mental your antics are. Any non-stupid questions? The worlds are identical? Right. Does it matter if you're going into the Institute or out of it? No, you only have to cross the gate. Which side is the real one? The worlds are identical, the same, equal. One isn't more real than the other. What was I saying? Right. As I said, suddenly there's a person that only exists on one of the worlds. What happens then? There's now a discrepancy, a desync. World A continues as if a person is missing, while World B does not. And for the most part, that's okay. It depends on who they are, naturally, but in general, things keep going in parallel just fine. An average Joe going about their day-to-day life isn't going to change the world in a day. In a day. I'm phrasing it that way because that part's important. The brainiacs are still poring over this one, but every morning the discrepancy seems to fix itself. I bet my shiniest nickel that you two have noticed. Everyone experiences it a bit differently, but things go a bit funny for a moment, and then... BAM! The worlds slam back into alignment. History has rewritten itself. You don't know what I'm talking about, Spencer? Fisher stabs a fry in Kurt's direction. He knows what I'm talking about. No, I know. I've been waking up every morning. You sleep through it? Ha! That's rich. It's my alarm clock. I see it every morning. It wakes me up at 9:22. That's right. 9:22 in the morning and 4 seconds and 834 milliseconds today. There's a bit of a drift, and you have to be careful around Daylight Savings Day, but you got it right. It happens every day at around the same time. Remind me to show you the cesium clock we have down there that's calibrated to track the drift. It's some smart stuff. You boys into physics? No. The resyncs? They're perfect? Not big on small talk, are you? No, as you're insinuating, realignments aren't perfect. Hell, everything that happens between realignments isn't perfect either. I'm neither physicist nor theologist, but to me it all always seemed kinda loosey-goosey. Organic was the term the doctorates always used. Let me give you an example. That original construction crew? When someone's gone that way, when they merge with their mirror, they're gone. There's no way to unpass through the RLG. When the worlds realign, they don't bring back the person's mirror. So now there's a bunch of people running around doing their own thing on each world separately. You can imagine how this snowballs, right? Not long after, there's an entire platoon on either side trying to push their world in any which way. It gets more complicated. A mirrorless person on World B may force someone regular into the gate. This action doesn't happen on World A, right? So the regular person now exists on World A twice. That's how there's two of you, Mr. Abrams. Spencer here graciously led you down the gate without your knowledge, back when you two first met. Now, as you can imagine, this leads to all kinds of wondrous consequences. Over the years, they've discovered that so many things leak through. Most striking is that if a mirrorless is instrumental to someone's death, it never carries over to the other side. God, the universe, what have you, tries its best to make things work despite it, to get things in line. But over time, things become a mess. Impossible things start popping in and out of existence at any time and any place. The RLG is a phenomenon, see? It is cold and uncaring. Trying to reason with it is like asking an earthquake to reschedule. It has only one job. The worlds, their history, must be kept synchronized. And if it needs to, it will rip the neurons right out of your head. Another example, less dramatic, more topical. Spencer and I get to keep our memories. What? I'm merged with my mirror, and Spencer's is dead. There's nowhere to copy our memories over to. For you, on the other hand, unless I missed something, not only is your mirror still alive, but he's now here with us somewhere on World B. The RLG doesn't do what it does when both mirrors are on the same world. There's only one Kurt Abrams, even if two of them are running around. Let me be frank with you for a second. I'm surprised you're still able to form a complete phrase. For most zombies that the RLG created, it took much less. What you've done with your mirror, all that coordination. How long have you been talking to something that can't exist? By all conventional wisdom, there shouldn't be much left of your mind. You can't remember? I remember sometimes. Other times I have to piece it together. It's like I know I must have done something, but I can't remember having actually done it. Huh. What? What were you about to say? Aren't you gonna explain why that is? That part's actually straightforward. Every day, only one world gets to be dominant. It's either World A or World B. Everything that happened on the dominant world gets copied over to the non-dominant world, and everything that happened on the non-dominant world disappears. With the big asterisk that both parts of the process are far from perfect, that's basically it. That's why you remember things the way you do. It's a side effect of being out of sync with your mirror. We've seen it 1,000 times. I see. Yeah? Things are starting to slide into place? That's it, huh? That's the story of the RLG. Don't look too excited now. So, what's so dangerous about it? Boy. Good question. As I said, with continued activity, the worlds drift increasingly apart. Remember how I said the average Joe living out his average life is unlikely to cause any significant discrepancy to form? Well, what if Joe wasn't average? What if there were 2 or 3 Joes all doing whatever the hell they please? I'll tell you what happens. History starts having trouble welding itself back together. Before you know it, half the town is wiped off the face of the earth. Like what happened in 71. Yes, like what happened back then. The administration were so sure they buried the story. To think that you kids were able to piece it together. Good work. Kurt, are you still with us? Fisher upturns the remainder of his fries onto the tray and tosses a couple of small burnt ones whole in his mouth. I believe I got my point across. And you don't like me. I get it. I don't like you either. But if there's one thing I want you two to take away from this, is that you must stop fucking around. I'm going to repeat this because I want to make it clear. You must stop fucking around. Don't fuck with the gate, and don't fuck with me. It doesn't matter what your adolescent moral compass is saying. The risk far outweighs the reward. That's all I had to say. Got it? Did I make myself clear? Why? Yes? Why are we having this conversation? Is your head screwed on right? Didn't I spend the last half an hour explaining it? All you explained was how your haunted mansion works. My jaw scrapes open as if it had been closed for 1,000 years. I speak slowly. Words come to me a moment before they leave my mouth. You didn't explain us. Why are you talking to me? You started it, didn't you? You got the wheels turning in the first place. None of this would have happened if you didn't make me come here. What's in it for you? You're ruthless today, Spencer. I getcha. I see what you want me to say. Sadly for you, I meant what I said last time we met. I wanted to meet my grandson. Is that so hard to believe? You fucking killed me. Ha! You fucking tried to kill me first. Ain't it beautiful how it works? You don't even remember. Little man, you tried to bash my head in with a rock. The only reason I'm still standing is because you're a limp-wristed wimp. Bullshit. That's bullshit. Why'd I want to kill you if you've done nothing? You're making shit up. There are a lot of reasons to want me dead, Spencer. But why'd you specifically want to kill me? Your guess is as good as mine. We're getting along just dandy for a couple of weeks until I turn around and you're trying to cave my skull in. It doesn't matter. I've all but forgiven you and forgotten about it. It was all lost the moment your mirror died. Now, I'm not going to pretend like this entire thing was not a massive mistake. I'm a big man. I make mistakes. This was one of them. I don't care what you think of me. What I want is for this town not to turn into dust. We don't have to be friends, but we have to be at peace with one another. For the last time, don't fuck with the gate. Do you understand? I understand. Great. Before we part ways, I want to leave you gentlemen with a couple final thoughts. Think things over. Take your time. It's a lot to take in, and I don't want you to do anything rash. Spencer, let's meet up next Thursday, 9 a.m., down in the basement. My men will let you in. Only you. What's the point? The point? For one thing, we have to figure out what to do with Kurt. For another thing, your cooperation will give me some peace of mind. Peace of mind. We both know what you're thinking of, so as a deterrent, I'll disclose one last thing about the gate. Think back to what I said. Every morning, either World A or World B gets to be dominant. If World A is dominant, anything that happened on World B the prior day disappears. There's a missing piece of information here. How does the RLG choose which world is dominant? No one knows. We never figured it out. No one knows, except for me. That's my trump card. You won't outsmart me. Don't try. And I'll give you an out, Spencer. An alternative. If you don't show up next week. If you truly can't stand to live with me around. I advise you to run. Run far, far away. I'm tired. Exhausted. Like I simultaneously ran a marathon and crammed for calculus, all while drinking a gallon of vodka. I'm in a state of hangover, in a world where hangovers never let up. That was it, huh? Using what little mental effort I can muster, I try to find the contradiction that would unravel Fisher's explanation into what it must be. A story. A tale to scare children out of venturing too deep into the woods. A bold-faced lie. His words and phrases come to me out of order, at random. Some words are suspicious. Behind some words there's hidden information. Hidden threats. And yet, nothing else explains what I've gone through in the past week. Nothing that isn't even more outlandish. How ridiculous. How fucking absurd of me to ever doubt Ian and his gang of Scooby-Doos. Of course all the History Channel ghost hunter shit is real. Fisher said to think it over, so I do. I think myself a new headache on top of the old one. I think until I'm no longer capable. When that happens, I crawl under my blankets and sleep instead. Once I'm done sleeping, I turn over and go back to sleep. I sleep forever, beautifully, uninterrupted, as though I had never slept before. When I can't sleep anymore, I'm not well rested. Every bone, every piece of cartilage and sinew throughout my body is buzzing for attention. I lie on my back, unable to twist in any which way to make myself comfortable, and look at the bottom of the vacant bunk above. I memorize every square inch of the mattress fabric over the dim light coming in through the window from the street lamps below. I survey the welding on the frame. Once I'm satisfied, I turn to the wall. The grooves in the sloppy paint job keep my attention for hours. Then, at 5:31, a catastrophe. I'm bored. What a cool situation I've gotten myself into. 4 brain-dead security guards, 5 car crashes, the entire town losing a chunk of their IQ. That's on me, huh? I did that. Fisher said I did that. I did not know I did that, but if Fisher isn't lying, I did do that. I did that, and that's it? No repercussions? Shouldn't I be getting my ass thrown in jail for the rest of my life? Fisher certainly behaved as if it's nothing. Meet me in a week for some tea and cookies as if that's just the norm. How many people have been fucking with the gate? How often? Were they more or less careful than I'd been? Didn't Andrew say that insane shit has been going on in this town for as long as he can remember? God. I sit up on my bed, and it takes a few seconds for my nervous system to stab into my lower back. It's gotten hard enough to think that even pain comes slowly. Many thoughts come to me, but I can't engage with any of them. Like I'm trying to grab something at the bottom of a river, but instead of water, it's a river of clay. That's what it must feel like to have your brain fried. And Kurt is supposedly even worse off? Is it permanent? Am I going to feel like shit forever? Will I even be able to get a degree with half a functioning brain? I cough out a mute little laugh. What am I saying? Do I expect Fisher to keep paying for me to stay here? He's planning to fucking kill me. It's so obvious. My cooperation would give him peace of mind. Fuck off. I'm not cooperating with some evil, smirking grandpa. He knows for a fact I won't. This is too much. I'm in way over my head. I gotta get out of here. He told me to get out of here. Either get out of here or die. These were the options I was presented with. There's nothing left to do, so screw all this, I guess. I want to go back home. I want to see Mom again. Hope she doesn't notice I can't do basic arithmetic anymore. I'll book a plane first thing in the morning. There's nothing here for me anymore. Well, no, that's not true. There is one thing. The other me. The other Spencer. Fisher claims he doesn't know why I tried to kill him. But that can't be right, can it? He'd spoken about killing me, to my face, as though it was nothing. There's no way he'd get shy about something like that. A part of me doesn't care anymore. Some things are better left unknown, it tells me. It will be a waste of time. There's nothing I can do about it either way. Another part of me is screaming. The reason I've gotten so deep into this shit is because I shoved my head in the sand. What have I got to lose? There isn't any complicated planning. There's virtually no risk. All I have to do is walk up to him and ask. He'll tell me. Afterwards, I'll pack my shit and fly home. Spencer! Hi! Long time no... Are you okay? I'm fine. Hey Ian, how good are you at keeping a secret? What? Do you know anywhere quiet? Somewhere that isn't under a bridge. I got a hell of a story to tell you. We drive west, through downtown. The high-rise buildings give way to suburban houses. At their edge, right as the signs thank us for visiting Rockland, Ian curves into a street. Not 100 yards pass before a paved road becomes gravel. Ian carefully navigates around the multitudes of under-construction barriers as entire blocks of scaffolding and bare concrete surround us. Then, suddenly, we emerge out onto a state road. The depth of the cracks in the asphalt speak on how ancient this place must be. It's cold out here, but not entirely unpleasant. Despite the narrow, shoestring budget build, the bus stop succeeds in keeping us out of the weather. The perfect horizontal drizzle lightly taps on the tin, making a hum like an old TV stuck between channels. I don't need to raise my voice to tell my tale to Ian. And I do tell him. At first I mask the details, but he haws and ahas at all the right places, asks all the right questions. I tell him what I've already told him so many times before. I tell him the stuff that's new, the things that I didn't yet have time to digest. Once I start talking, I can't stop. I'm back from the dead now, and I want him to know. That's a story. That it is. He flips the charm in his palm back and forth. And you're saying I'll remember it this time around? If you remember it tomorrow, then you remember it forever, as far as I can tell. Huh. Sorry it sounds like bullshit. It's not that. No. Not a chance. I believe you. I think. I've never heard a more convincing account in my life. It's just that... He remains silent for a minute. I don't want to interrupt him. I've just confirmed that his wacky conspiracy theories are real, and admitted to some pretty awful shit all at the same time. God knows I'd be at a loss for words. What's the verdict? The verdict, huh? Gosh, I don't know. Like, you know all those stories about farmers getting abducted and probed by aliens? Your story is just like that. Like you're the center of this massive government cover-up, and it's all a ploy to let swamp gas out your ass. It's all a little... He makes a twisty gesture with his hand. You get what I'm saying? And I can't tell anyone because the world will end? Yeah, something like that. Maybe. Probably. Not in any fun way. Either that or... Let me try that again. Either that or the CIA gets our asses. Or Fisher does. I see. What? That's the part that gets me most, you know? I've been following this stuff for years, and I've never heard of this guy. Not until he approached me a couple of weeks ago to threaten me out of the blue. Well, that's his trick with the gate, right? One of the worlds gets overwritten, so he literally scrubs himself out of history. I wonder about that. What do you mean? Why would he decide to suddenly start approaching people so personally? How come both of us remember that he never showed up to deliver his speech? How can such a person afford to speak to me and you and a dozen other people? If he really is the cause of everything, if he's the poltergeist, that's just not how he behaves. And besides, don't things leak? Isn't that what he told you in so many words? It does align with what's been going on. Parts of your story, Spencer. He forcefully shoves the charm into his pocket. What parts? Never mind. The crazies we've been interviewing, and the written down stuff that's been left behind. There's a reason we've always thought it was some kind of entity. If what you're saying is true, we were right on the money about that. Most of our high-quality accounts refer to someone, or something, that they can't quite recall. All of them, come to think of it. Anyway, I suppose that's that. What's what? I'll handle the group. If I can't tell them anything, then I'll have to come up with something to distract them with. Tell them that your involvement in it is all a big misunderstanding and is entirely benign. Will they believe that? Not likely. Thanks for trusting me with this. I can't follow him at all. Did I somehow miss half of what he was telling me? Is he mad at me or not? The gate must have fucked with my head after all. I'm going to miss his stupid smile. Don't mention it. Feel like watching anything? Got a couple episodes downloaded on my phone. Just like that, huh? Maybe in a bit. There's something I want to ask you first. Me? Why? You got any more earth-shattering revelations? I'm hesitating. All the head voices who were screaming so loudly before are now silent. My tongue feels heavy in my mouth, and I'm once again aware of the pain that's everywhere. I pretend to stretch by slowly planting my palms on my knees. This is fear. Sort of. I recognize it as fear, but what am I suddenly so afraid of? It's just Ian. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's a hole in my story. I was hoping, that you would be able to help me with that. A hole? The day I died. Do you remember it? My heart skips a beat. Smile's gone. I do. What of it? I have to keep going. There's nothing to lose. Let's get it done. Sorry to press you about it, but you mentioned it before. We were friends for longer than I remembered. And you were with me right before I died. It's just that no one is able to tell me what happened back then. Figured I should ask, if you don't mind. The sound of rain occupies the air for a while. Ian sits hunched over, staring into the bushes opposite to us. I have no choice but to stare at them as well. I try calming myself down while he's thinking. Why do my hands feel so weak? It's just this one loose end that's remaining. Once it's done, I'll be free. Yeah. We were together. On the day you died. The night before it, I mean. Damn. You know, I could tell you were going to ask about that. After telling me about the gate and the worlds and Fisher? Yeah, there's no way you wouldn't. Kind of didn't expect to be going into that today, though. You caught me a little off guard. My fingers gripped down on my knees. You don't have to if you don't want to. I bite down on my tongue. I didn't mean to say that. Is that really what you think, Spencer? I don't expect you to recall this, since apparently we've been seeing each other all the time in, the other world. But, from my perspective, you've been gone for a couple weeks now. Do you happen to remember what was the last thing you told me before you disappeared? We're mature adults. That's what you told me. You were talking about your dick. I've been thinking about it a lot, you know? About my dick? About being more upfront about uncomfortable stuff, you jerk. After we had that conversation, after I told you about the group and everything, I thought I messed up. You stopped showing to class almost immediately, and you never responded to messages or picked up your phone. Was that my fault? Right up until 20 minutes ago, I thought it was. It wasn't. That is a relief, but... I won't lie to you, Spencer. At first, it hurt real bad. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that you were right. Nothing would have improved had we not spoken about it at the time. Or worse, had we decided to pretend nothing was going on at all. What you told me just now, the whole situation with this Fisher person, only goes to show how true that is. No, I think I must tell you what happened that day. After you asked me about it, that genie ain't going back in the bottle. I straight up owe it to you. Most of it, anyway. My stomach tightens. Maybe I should have kept my idiot mouth shut. Most of it? Give me a minute. You'll see. He puffs his cheeks out and slowly exhales. Alright, so. Let's roll back to a couple of weeks after orientation. The big picture is that you and I, we'd been hanging out for a few days by that point. I'd shown you what me and the group have been up to. Like, about the town and all the mysteries going on. In hindsight, you being friendly with that Fisher guy at the time explains why you were interested in what I had to say, but back then, it isn't every day that you meet someone who's that enthusiastic about the paranormal. The opposite, actually, most often. I figured you definitely want to join the group, so I spared no details. That day, I showed you something you didn't like. I've thought it over so many times that the memory is etched into the back of my skull. But the short of it is that you stood up and walked away. Just like that. Just like what? Walked away where? Did I say anything? Sure didn't. What did you show me? See, that's the part I don't want to tell you. What do you think happened after you walked off that day? Oh. Yeah? You think whatever you showed me got me killed? He takes his hand out of his jacket and feels for his phone in his pants pocket. It lightly thuds against the metal seat. Yes, that is what I think. I spent weeks trying to figure out what exactly made you take off the way you did. I mean, I have some ideas, but... He leans back and looks at the roof of the bus station as he takes a deep breath. Mere hours after I discovered your body, you came right back from the dead, behaving as if nothing happened. As if you didn't know who I was. So I told the group about it, and they kind of took it in a way I didn't think they would. They weren't confused or terrified or anything like I was. They were excited. I didn't know what to do or what to think, so I just joined them. Was that when you were doing your little investigation about me? Did you find anything? We did, but... But what? We never figured out how you're connected to that. Why did that make you flip out? What's that? His shoulders tighten. You're being awfully cool about this, don't you think? Can you really not see why I'm dancing around it? What, you're assuming the same thing will happen again? Don't worry about it. How can I not? I scratched the back of my neck. This is getting stupid. It isn't worth it to make him go through this just to sate my curiosity. I should stop. It's a bit of a leap to assume that, is all. Just because one thing happens and then another thing happens doesn't mean they're related. What if they are, though? What are the chances? Are you kidding? Like 100%! I can change the subject at any time. I could tell him, you know what, you're right, and forget all about it. I'll risk it. I'm not that same Spencer that died on that day. You'll risk it? Spencer, I'm telling you clear as day that you'll die. You didn't believe me when I said you were a ghost of whatever either. Can you please cut me some freaking slack? I think my entire chest cavity tries to pull the words from leaving my mouth. I think I have to know. Do I? Fisher killed me. He killed me, and he's saying it was in self-defense, that I tried to kill him first. I can't stop thinking about it. The gate punched holes in my memory, so much so that I can only recall bits and pieces of the past year. That other Spencer? He's me, but he's also literally not. I don't know the things that he knew. And it haunts me that I'm not him, and yet I am the same person, in a sense. What could possibly be so important to me that I'd try to kill someone over it? Besides, I'm totally bracing for it. I promise I won't run off and get myself killed. My jaw tightens. Why must he keep looking at me like that? Spencer, I'm not stupid. I know that it must be important to you. It's just that... You don't get it, do you? You can't begin to imagine how relieved I was when you showed up at the 7-Eleven that evening. I didn't know what to make of you. Like, who were you, actually? You behaved as if you didn't know me, as if you fell right out of the sky. But then and there I couldn't care less, because you were alive. You don't know what it's like. Not to get overly sentimental, but remember when you asked me about the time I crashed my car? My family, Andrew, everyone is saying it's an act of God. It could have happened to anyone. They forgive me. That sort of thing. But my brother, you know? None of that will bring him back. None of that changes that I killed him. And then I killed you. Don't you get what I'm saying? You want me to kill you again? Spencer, you kinda suck. He's shaking. I'm barely able to keep my breathing steady. My stomach feels like it's being wrung inside out. Just tell me what it was so we can be done with it. You didn't kill anyone. I got my own damn self killed. And it won't happen a second time. I swear. Not gonna let it go, huh? Guess I tried my best. It's a freaking forum post. That's what killed you. A forum post. Ian fumbles with his phone. Pwn? That's not a word. Ian... Not as far as I'm aware, anyway. Anyway! Ian fumbles with his phone while scratching at his eyes with the sleeve of his jacket. Teal fills up Ian's phone screen. His eyes dance around the page for a minute, but then he clicks the screen off and puts the phone back down. Christ. Okay. A couple of years ago, a bunch of shit went down. Like, it was crazy. Shootings, a massive fire in the middle of downtown. The entire jury for a minor breaking and entering case all died in 3 separate accidents. Those were just 3 things that happened at the height of it, but they all happened within the span of 1 week. The police launched investigations on all of them, but as with everything else that's been happening, they ended up finding nothing. Thing is, the whole year had been like that. Was that when the car crash rate tripled? Yeah. You know about it? You told me. Oh. Right, of course. I see. You were asking me about it, and I was showing you bits and pieces of what we managed to dig up. There was a lot. That is, a lot of news articles were written during that time, and some of them went into great detail. There wasn't almost ever any follow-up, though. They'd report on something, and the police would find nothing, only for something else to happen after a few days to take everyone's attention away. That is what 2008 was like over here. And then it stopped, right? Yeah. Right before Christmas, everything stopped. You wanted to know about that. He softly clears his throat. We went through a lot of material. I can't remember how we got there, but it seemed like one case in particular got your attention. Something that happened in April that year. A medical specialist from out of state had been called in to help the local sheriff's office. By that point, things had gotten scary bad. I was still in rehabilitation at the time, but I remember my mom asking me to never be out past 8. It seemed appropriate for the county to start bringing experts in. That was the first article. The second and last mention of that person in the media was a short excerpt in the middle of a longer opinion piece. The expert was missing, and the article's author presumed they were called back home. I let out the breath I'd been holding in. That doesn't tell me anything. About what? I mean, it doesn't ring any bells. I don't know why I do anything, given this information. Oh. Well, thank you, Spencer, but there's more. Go on. Yeah, alright. Much later on, Jake, Todd's friend, ran into a series of forum posts that seemed relevant. It was in the general chatter section of the Hard Bend forums, which is a long-defunct metalhead magazine. The post's author was a user going by Gothweiser, with with a 0 instead of an O. Jake tracked him down through the Institute's message boards, where he used to use the same name. His real name is Antonio Ruiz, and he never kept his name or that he's from Auckland a secret online. One of those what's the worst that can happen kind of folks, to give you some context. Antonio, or Gothweiser, was a mortuary technician at Rockland County Memorial Hospital. And this guy, Gothweiser, he loved nothing more than to complain to his little group of forum friends. If I remember right, he had like 7,000 posts, most of which came from that same general chatter subforum. As you imagine, exactly the kind of guy my group wishes for in our wildest dreams. He spoke at length about how this out-of-state goody two-shoes doesn't know the first thing about morgues or corpses. We learned from him that the guy was an ICU doctor. Apparently, police detectives showed up one day with him in tow without prior warning. Gothweiser never gets specific about what the ICU doctor wanted with him, but he does say that he had interviewed all the morgue's employees multiple times for multiple hours each time. This goes on for a couple of days, but eventually it seems the doctor runs out of questions. Taking up space in the office while he's waiting for the feds to come pick him up, I believe was how Gothweiser phrased it. Something to that effect. A few days later, he reports that the doctor had stopped coming in. Here's the thing, though. Gothweiser doesn't simply state that the doctor is gone. Given his personality, one would expect him to go good riddance and never mention it again, but he does more than just that. He keeps mentioning it in passing over the next months, in an almost accusatory way. Like, small things. His favorite pin had gone missing from his shirt. He jokes that the doctor must have misplaced it weeks ago. His secretary was rude to him. The doctor must have spoken to her while he was there. When he inevitably gets fired because his mental well-being had gone down the drain, you bet the doctor was to blame. We were enthralled to find the forum argument that ensued. That's how we knew we were on the right track. That's how it always goes. The calling card of our Poltergeist. Something goes missing, and then someone goes insane. A couple of forum members have a falling out with Gothweiser over Skype. We never found the logs for that, but thankfully they took it to the forum shortly thereafter. They're all incredibly rude to him in the moment, but I get the impression that they cared about Gothweiser. They were trying to figure out what was wrong with him. Who was this damn doctor that he lost his mind over? Gothweiser doesn't remember. That's another common thread among people like him. It's the same as with the folks we interviewed ourselves. Everyone has a different trigger, a different thing that they obsess over, but when you ask them about it, it quickly becomes clear that they don't remember what it was. Ian pinches at his screen to zoom in. Just before getting banned for saying some racist crap out of nowhere, he gets into this huge argument that goes on for multiple pages. Pretty much everyone is convinced that the doctor is either an illusion or something that Gothweiser made up. A bunch of his friends are begging him to go seek professional help. With his back against the wall, he finally tells everyone what he actually remembers. As we expect, it is almost nothing at all, but he spills it all out in one rambling post. We tried reaching out to him, but he doesn't answer emails, he doesn't seem to use the same online handle anymore, and even the phone number he registered to the Institute with now belongs to someone else. What did the post say? He flips his phone screen side down on his thigh. You can see where I'm coming from, though, right? This is some cool stuff. I was so excited to share it with you. And it isn't like... This Gothweiser guy. He's just one of a half dozen other people I've shown you. Other online crazies just like him. How was I supposed to know that this one would be the one to make you lose your shit? What did the post say? Christ. See for yourself. Sorry it's in scruncher vision. It's a screenshot off my PC. I am not on dope, LMFAO. Are you 13? The execs made everyone without a master's degree piss in a cup twice a year. I am cleaner than all you shitheads combined. Microwave. Be a dear and actually read my previous post. Same with you, Ginger Guns. Does it say anywhere that the doctor is talking to me? Didn't think so. What is not clicking? Why are none of you shitheads believe something as simple as some sociopath showing up and deciding to ruin my whole fucking life? It happens all the time. It could happen to you. Actually, it should happen to you, to teach you a lesson. Short guy, 40 or 50 years old. Blue suit and tie that are a bit too big. High voice, nasty bloodshot eyes. There, I'm describing him. Is that doing it for you? Do you believe me yet? I literally only spoke business with him. Confidential stuff. I literally can't say what I was talking to him about if I ever want to find work again. Lol. I will say this, though. He was after someone. That was his #1 problem that he kept talking about over and over. Completely unrelated to anything he was asking us about, but he was losing sleep over it. Almost feel sorry for him. Almost, Lamau. I overheard him talking about it with the detectives on the first day, before the interview started. He was after that man. No clue who that was. You know, the guy looks like a fucking mess, and it's because someone is in his dreams? And at work you're supposed to be a nice guy. I asked him about it in the lounge. You know what he told me? The way he said it, it's like he rehearsed it 1,000 times. I'll never forget it until the day I die. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "It is my worst and most frequent nightmare. That man has to be stopped." Did you finish reading? Can I have my phone back? So, got any idea what that's all about? Spencer? Where are you going? There isn't anything around for miles. Oh god. Stop! You promised you wouldn't! I'll fucking run you over myself, you asshole! Spencer! The man rang our doorbell 3 years ago. March 23rd, 2007, 8:53 p.m. He introduced himself as Nelson Fisher, born John Swain, a member of the Rockland Looking Glass Veteran Association. Despite the late hour and the lack of prior notice, we let him in. We offered him water. Where was Rockland? Did he say John Swain? That was the name of my grandfather on my dad's side. Any relation? This man, Fisher, My grandfather. Having entered the house, he spent barely any time at all before getting right to it. He knew us. He knew that Mom can't keep a job, and he knew that I barely managed to graduate high school. He spoke about our pasts, our recent pasts, private details that no one besides us should be able to recall. We were shocked, naturally, but the man predicted our protests word for word and rejected them before they even left our lips. Speechless, we were forced to let him explain. There's a wondrous device down in Rockland. A natural phenomenon, entirely unique, harnessed by man. It was the mechanism behind his nigh-divine ability to pull up the past and predict the future. There had once existed a large-scale project surrounding the device, its research and its utility. Hundreds of people ended up contributing to it. Hundreds of others like the man. Things, however, didn't last. The device had a great problem, and in the early 70s, the entire project had been permanently shut down. The longer Fisher's speech went on, the more passionate he became. He told us of the years following the project's closure, of administrative failure after administrative failure. The man was forced to change his identity, cut ties with his wife and infant son, live a life of anonymity, all to protect the project's secrecy. It had great military tactical importance, after all. In return, he, and every other person retiring from the project, would receive a generous stipend that guaranteed never having to work a day for the rest of one's life. The Rockland Looking Glass Veteran Association was born. The man jeered the words out, called it a bribe from the government. A bribe that almost all his peers gladly took. And then, the man smiled and apologized. Inexplicably said that he never got this far. That he won't bother us for much longer. He must catch the flight back home. Mom, ever the bravest, asked him, "What do we have to do with it?" The man replied that he's getting old, and he wishes to make up for lost time. His former peers have steadily been diminishing in numbers. They have all lived quiet, unimpactful lives of isolation until the day they died. Exactly as the administration had arranged for all those years ago. He wasn't planning on anything grandiose, far from it. Association members aren't allowed to exit Rockland, he explained. He had to utilize the device privately just to speak to us. What he wanted was twofold and relatively simple. Fisher wanted to reconnect with his family, and, more importantly, he wanted to pass down his knowledge of the Rockland Looking Glass. I remember it. That's quite enough, Mr. Fisher. Even if what you're saying is true, it's all so sudden. Please leave your number with us. When we reach a decision, we'll give you a call. What an insane proposition from an insane man. Leave our entire lives behind and move in with some stranger who'd done nothing but threaten us. Who in their right mind would agree to something like that? Oh, I remember it all right. We never called. It was him who called us. At first, we brushed him off, made excuses as to why we can't speak tonight. But now isn't a good time quickly turned into, I've only got half an hour. Many evenings, when I would pass by the living room, I would overhear them chatting away. As the conversations grew longer, despite listening in to only one side of the call, I managed to piece some things together. The man had secured a fraudulent position at the Rockland County Clerk's office and was re-establishing ties with old colleagues in the town college. He never made attempts to hide his intentions. He wanted us in Rockland and made progress towards sweetening the deal. Over time, the now hour-long phone conversations grew heated. Even outside his boastful disregard of the law, the man had a strange outlook on society and on life. An outlook that became increasingly difficult to wave off as the ramblings of an out-of-touch retiree. I withdrew to my room. I couldn't stand the yelling. Why can't this felon take a hint? Why did he have to stick his nose into our lives? Then, one day, the shouting had reached a boiling point. We received no more phone calls after that. A year later, Rockland was set ablaze. It was Mom who first discovered it. Fisher had presented himself as powerful and dangerous, and Mom hated getting blindsided by people like him. We observed in distant curiosity as week after week a new strange occurrence would break local news. Despite the severity of the incidents, they would rarely reach the national level, and whenever they did, it was a comma, a statistical outlier on a marginally related graph. I looked it up online. In some communities, Rockland had become a bit of a joke, a backwater murder county where law enforcement is impotent and all the officials are corrupt. Dread got the better of us. It couldn't be him, could it? On November 1st, 2007, over dinner, we decided that we should call, just in case. The daily shouting returned, stronger than ever. On the evening it got unbearable, I decided to peek out of my room. Dad sat in the living room, eyes wide, expressionless, looking through the turned-off TV. When he spoke, it's like he intended only for the walls to hear. "The old man has gone insane," he said. "He's erasing people off the face of the earth." I remember? Huh? Sorry you got dragged into it, Spencer. This is my fault. I'll take care of it, I promise. I'll find a way to sort it out. No, that's wrong. That's not what happened. I remember. The hospital Dad worked at, St. Mary's, refused to go through with the procedure. Kidneys aren't a rare organ donation, and it's not like the patient is in any critical condition. He should just wait his turn like everyone else. But Dad was adamant. He argued and yelled. He and the patient were a perfect match. He was in perfect health. The surgery was routine. In the end, we drove 30 miles to the South Memorial Hospital. It was the next best thing. A throng of people showed up to Dad's funeral. People whose lives he saved. Childhood friends and colleagues. Even a couple of people who he sometimes helped getting their meds refilled. It was only then that I found out what happened. Mom had no idea how to explain it to a 10-year-old child. He didn't have to die, some of the attendees told me. It was his damn personality. Dad was always pulling stunts like this, and it was only a matter of time until it caught up to him. One person even got on one knee to console me at eye level. Their sentiment was similar to that of everyone else. What a waste. A couple of weeks later, the last person helping Mom out stopped showing up to our house. That is what I remember. I remember it clearly, but... Amy, Spencer. I'm flying down to Rockland tomorrow morning. I can't stand it any longer. I can't think. I can't focus on anything besides it. He's the reason I can't sleep. I don't care anymore if what he claims is true, that he really is my long-lost father. What he's doing to that town. It has become my worst and most frequent nightmare. That man has to be stopped. That's funny. That can't be right, can it? I was 10 when Dad died, so... either 10 or 11. 1998, for sure. I remember... was it spring? The leaves... they were... July? No, that wouldn't make sense. When did Dad die? I remember it. It was so cold when they told me. Late evening. No, the lights were... Say, when did Dad die? Hey, snap out of it. Just say it. No one could forget something so important. When did it happen? Come on, ballpark estimate. First thing that comes to mind. Just recall it real quick. When was it? When did Dad die?